The person who looks richest at your office might actually be the most broke: the new car, the latest iPhone, the perfect vacation. It could be wealth, or it could be an expensive character to maintain. Today, you'll discover the hidden tax you pay to impress people who aren't thinking about you, and how to stop without living miserably. If you want practical money lessons without guru nonsense, hit like and subscribe. That's what this channel is built for, because the goal isn't to look poor, it's to become wealthy without needing to prove it. And that starts with two coworkers. Ryan and Marcus started at the same company within the same month, same age, similar salary, similar opportunities. But from the outside, Ryan looked like the one who was winning. He leased a new SUV, upgraded his phone every year, wore brands people recognized, and posted vacations that made his life look effortless. Marcus drove an older, paid-off car, lived in a modest apartment, and rarely posted anything at all. At work, people noticed Ryan. Marcus blended into the background. Most coworkers assumed Ryan was further ahead. They were wrong. Ryan needed every paycheck to keep the image running. One missed month, one emergency, one layoff, and everything started to wobble. Marcus, meanwhile, had enough cash to survive for months without income. And that difference did not begin with a bigger salary, better investments, or unusual intelligence. It began with something far more uncomfortable, a need almost everyone feels, but almost nobody wants to admit: the need to look successful before actually becoming successful. Once that need takes control, money stops building your future and starts managing other people's opinions. That is the real trap. Once money becomes a tool for managing other people's opinions, every purchase starts carrying emotional weight. Buy a car, and part of what you're really buying might be proof that you're moving forward. Book a vacation, and you might be buying evidence that your life is exciting. Pick a brand, and you might be buying protection from feeling invisible, behind, or out of place. That does not make you shallow, it makes you human. For most of history, status affected belonging, safety, and opportunity. Today, the stakes are different, but the instinct is still there. The modern version even has a name: keeping up with the Joneses. The problem is that the Joneses are no longer just your neighbors. They are thousands of carefully edited strangers on your phone, showing you the best 5 seconds of lives you cannot verify. So the comparison never ends. There is always a nicer house, a newer car, a better trip, and someone who appears further ahead. Liking quality is not the problem. Buying something mainly to control how others see you is. Because once approval enters the price, the purchase begins charging more than money alone. And there is one question that exposes the difference almost instantly. First, let's price that performance. That performance has a price, even when it never appears as a separate line on your bank statement. Call it the status tax. It is not an official tax. It is the total cost of maintaining an image your financial foundation cannot safely support. And it usually arrives in 4 layers. First, the price of the thing itself. Second, the interest and monthly payments attached to it. Third, the expenses that come with owning it. And fourth, the growth you give up because that money can no longer work for you. Take a paid-off car that runs well. Replacing it with a financed $55,000 vehicle may feel manageable because the monthly payment fits. But the payment is not the whole car. Now there is higher insurance, registration, maintenance, depreciation, and less room in the budget when something goes wrong. What looked like one upgrade quietly becomes a long-term obligation, and the biggest cost may not be visible at all. It is the job you cannot leave, the emergency you cannot absorb, the opportunity you have to decline because too much of your future income has already been promised. A status purchase rarely charges only money. It charges options. And here is where the tax becomes even more dangerous. One expensive purchase rarely stays alone. It changes what the rest of your life is supposed to look like. Once your identity upgrades, everything around it can suddenly start feeling outdated too. That is how one purchase turns into a lifestyle. You buy the new television, and suddenly the old sound system feels embarrassing. You move into a nicer apartment, and now the furniture that looked perfectly fine last month seems cheap. You get the luxury car, and ordinary restaurants, clothes, and vacations start feeling inconsistent with the person you are trying to become. That is how a new television somehow ends up renovating half the living room. The purchase did not just upgrade an object, it quietly raised your definition of normal. And once normal becomes more expensive, maintaining it starts consuming every raise before the money can build anything lasting. This is the upgrade treadmill. You keep moving, spending, and improving, but your financial breathing room stays in the same place. Worse, the excitement never lasts as long as you expect. At first, the new car feels special. You park farther away so nobody scratches it. You look back at it after walking away. You invent reasons to drive. A few months later, it is simply your car. The novelty disappears. The payment does not. Your brain gets used to luxury much faster than your lender forgets the debt. That is why earning more can feel exactly like standing still. To understand why, we need to separate income from wealth. That distinction matters because income can create the appearance of wealth long before wealth actually exists. Income is the money that passes through your life. Wealth is the money that stays, grows, and gives you options later. You can earn a lot and still own almost none of your future. Think of it like filling a swimming pool while the drain is wide open. A bigger hose helps, but if every raise immediately becomes a bigger house, a newer car, and more expensive habits, the water level barely moves. For some people, the problem really is income. When every dollar is needed for rent, food, transportation, and basic bills, earning more is essential. But after a certain point, income alone cannot fix a lifestyle that expands to consume everything. That is why visible success can be misleading. Income can be displayed. Credit can imitate income. Wealth is mostly invisible. You usually see it only when life goes wrong and someone has enough margin to absorb the hit. Which brings us back to Ryan and Marcus. 10 years later, the person everyone overlooked was living a very different life. Ryan was earning more, but every raise triggered another upgrade. A newer vehicle, a larger apartment, better vacations, more expensive habits that now felt normal. From the outside, he still looked successful. Inside, nothing had changed. He still needed the next paycheck. He still carried credit card balances. And leaving a job he hated felt impossible because too much of his life depended on keeping the income flowing. Marcus had also improved his life, more slowly. He built an emergency fund. He contributed to retirement and investment accounts. He replaced things when they needed replacing, not when he needed attention. Now, he could handle a repair without debt. He could leave a job without panicking. He could make purchases without asking a lender for permission. Marcus did not buy less life. He bought more choice. And that is the point most people miss. Looking successful can make you feel ahead for a moment. Financial margin gives you control for years. So how do you stop paying the status tax without becoming cheap, joyless, or afraid to spend? The answer is not to stop spending. It is to stop spending on autopilot. Here are 4 rules that make the status tax easier to escape. Rule 1. Delay the decision. For small impulse purchases, wait 48 hours. For something meaningful, wait 7 days. For a major commitment, wait 30. You are not punishing yourself. You are giving the emotion time to cool down. During the wait, ask, do I still want this item, or do I only want the feeling I imagined it would create? Urgency is often a sign that the purchase is emotional. Real value usually survives a pause. You may discover that the desire fades, the price looks different, or a cheaper option solves the problem. A delay does not remove choice. It removes pressure. Rule 2. Remove the audience. Before buying, ask one uncomfortable question. If nobody could see it, post it, recognize the brand, or compliment me, would I still want it? A yes does not automatically make the purchase smart, but it suggests the desire is yours. A no reveals something important. You may not be buying the object. You may be buying a costume for an invisible audience. When the audience disappears, many desires disappear with it. Try imagining the purchase with no logo and no social post. What remains is the part that may matter to you. Rule 3. Put a ceiling on lifestyle inflation. You are allowed to improve your life. The goal is not permanent restriction, but every raise should not vanish into a nicer car, a larger home, and more expensive habits. Choose in advance what happens when your income increases. Part can improve your life now. Part can strengthen savings and investments. Part can fund experiences or long-term goals. The split matters less than the rule. Your spending cannot automatically consume the entire raise. You do not need to spend every promotion proving that you were promoted. Automatic contributions can make this easier. Increase your 401k, Roth IRA, brokerage, or savings transfer before the new income becomes your new normal. This protects progress before expectations expand to claim it. Rule 4. Measure purchases in months of freedom. Most people ask, can I afford the payment? Ask a better question. Does this purchase increase or reduce the number of months I could live without my next paycheck? Imagine having 6 months of expenses saved. Then, a down payment, new monthly bill, and higher insurance reduce that cushion to 2. The purchase did not just cost dollars. It cost 4 months of freedom. That is the number most salespeople never show you. Financial freedom begins long before you become rich. It begins when an emergency, a layoff, or a terrible boss loses some of its power over you. Every month of margin gives you more room to think instead of react. So buy freedom first. Then buy the lifestyle from a position where it cannot control you. These 4 rules will not make every decision obvious, but they will expose whether you are buying utility, pleasure, or performance. And that distinction matters because looking poor was never the goal. Exactly. Looking poor is not the goal. The goal is to stop confusing deprivation with discipline and performance with success. Money exists to improve your life. A safe car, clothes you feel good wearing, a memorable trip, a comfortable home. None of those things are the enemy. The question is why you are buying them and whether your finances can support the choice. It helps to separate spending into 3 categories. Utility solves a problem. Pleasure gives you genuine enjoyment and fits your financial reality. Performance is mainly designed to change how other people see you. Utility and pleasure can make life better. Performance is the category most likely to trade long-term freedom for short-term approval. The problem is not spending on comfort, beauty, or fun. The problem is sacrificing security to purchase applause. And once you see that difference, the title of this video needs a more honest answer. So, should you try to look poor? No, you should stop using money to perform a version of success your finances cannot safely support. Real wealth is often quieter than most people expect. It is sleeping without fear of the next bill. It is handling an emergency without panic. It is leaving a destructive job because you have options. It is buying something because you chose it, not because you needed approval. Looking rich can purchase a few seconds of attention. Building wealth can purchase years of freedom. And between impressing strangers and protecting your future, sometimes the smartest move is letting people underestimate you. Now think about the last major purchase you made. Was it utility, pleasure, or performance? Leave just one of those 3 words in the comments. Your answer may reveal far more than the purchase itself.